Have you ever thought about growing your own vegetables in your backyard? It's a simple question, yet it holds so much potential. Home gardening is not just about sowing seeds and reaping the fruits of your labor, it's a journey, one that can be as enriching as it is rewarding. Imagine stepping into your backyard, the sun casting its golden glow across the lush greenery. You reach out, plucking a ripe, juicy tomato off the vine, one that you've nurtured from a tiny seedling. It's an incredible feeling, isn't it? The satisfaction of growing your own food, right in the comfort of your home, is unparalleled. But the joy of home gardening extends beyond personal satisfaction. There's a certain health benefit that stems from this natural pursuit. When you cultivate your own vegetables, you know exactly what goes into your food. There are no hidden chemicals, no artificial preservatives, just pure, fresh produce bursting with nutrients. It's a healthier choice, not just for you but for your loved ones too. And let's not forget the financial aspect. With the ever-rising cost of living, saving a few pennies here and there can make a significant difference. Home gardening is a cost-effective solution. A fun and productive way to stretch your budget without compromising on quality. Moreover, home gardening can be a catalyst for positive environmental change. By growing your own food, you're reducing your dependence on commercially grown produce, which often travels hundreds if not thousands of miles before reaching your plate. This journey, known as food miles, contributes to carbon emissions, a leading cause of global warming. By reducing these food miles, you're playing your part in preserving our planet. So you see, home gardening isn't just a hobby, it's a lifestyle choice that reaps benefits for you, your health, your wallet, and the environment. It's a small step towards self-sustainability, a giant leap towards a healthier, happier world. Growing your own vegetables can be a rewarding and fruitful experience, no pun intended. Starting a vegetable garden might seem like a daunting task, but it doesn't have to be. All you need is a bit of planning, patience, and some elbow grease. So let's dive right into the initial steps to start your vegetable garden. First things first, choosing a suitable location. Your garden needs a spot that gets plenty of sunlight, at least 6 to 8 hours a day. Vegetables love the sun, so the more light they get, the better they'll grow. Also, consider a location with easy access to water, and one that's protected from harsh winds and frost pockets. Next, we have soil preparation. This is a crucial step that can make or break your garden. Good soil is the foundation of a healthy garden. Start by removing any rocks, weeds, or grass from your chosen spot. Then it's time to enrich the soil. Mix in some organic matter like compost or well-rotted manure. This will improve the soil structure and provide nutrients for your plants. Test your soil's pH level. Most vegetables prefer a slightly acidic to neutral pH between 6 and 7. If your soil is too acidic or alkaline, don't worry. There are amendments you can add to balance it out. Finally, selecting the right vegetables to grow. This depends on your local climate and the season. Some veggies like tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers love the heat of summer. Others like lettuce, spinach, and radishes prefer cooler spring or fall temperatures. Do a little research, see what grows well in your area, and choose vegetables that you and your family love to eat. Remember, starting a garden is a journey. It's okay if everything doesn't go perfectly the first time. You'll learn, adapt, and improve as you go. Gardening isn't just about the end product, it's about connecting with nature, enjoying the outdoors, and reaping the rewards of your hard work. With the right preparation and care, anyone can start their own vegetable garden. Once you've prepared your garden, the next step is planting and taking care of your vegetables. The process of planting vegetables is not as daunting as it may seem. It's all about understanding the needs of each plant, and providing them with the right conditions to thrive. Let's start with the importance of spacing and depth. Spacing is crucial because plants need room to grow and spread their roots. If they're too close together, they'll compete for sunlight, water, and nutrients, which could stunt their growth. As a rule of thumb, leafy vegetables like lettuce and spinach need about 8 inches of space, while larger vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers require about 2 to 3 feet. Depth is another important factor to consider. Planting seeds too shallow can leave them vulnerable to being washed away by rain or eaten by birds. On the other hand, planting them too deep might make it difficult for them to sprout and reach the surface. A good rule to follow is to plant seeds about 2 to 3 times as deep as their diameter. Now let's talk about watering. Vegetables need a steady supply of water to grow. However, it's important not to overwater, as this can lead to root rot and other diseases. The soil should be kept moist, but not soggy. A good way to check is to stick your finger about 1 inch into the soil. If it feels dry, it's time to water. Weeding is another essential part of plant care. Weeds compete with your vegetables for resources, so it's important to remove them regularly. However, be careful not to disturb the roots of your vegetables in the process. You can also use mulch to suppress weed growth and retain moisture in the soil. Protection from pests and diseases is a critical aspect of plant care. Regularly inspect your plants for signs of infestation or disease. If you notice any, there are various organic and non-organic solutions available. For example, you can use insecticidal soap for aphids and other soft-bodied insects, or copper fungicide for fungal diseases. Remember, prevention is always better than cure, so keeping your garden clean and your plants healthy is the best defense against pests and diseases. Lastly, it's important to remember that different vegetables have different needs. Some might need more sunlight or water than others. Some might prefer cool weather while others thrive in the heat. Learning about these differences and adjusting your care accordingly is key to a successful vegetable garden. Proper care is key to a thriving vegetable garden. So, roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, and watch as your garden transforms from a patch of earth to a vibrant, living salad bar. With a little patience and a lot of care, you'll soon be enjoying the fruits, or in this case the vegetables, of your labor. Harvesting is the most rewarding part of growing your own vegetables. It's the moment when all the hard work and patience finally pay off. But the timing and method of your harvest can greatly influence the quality of your produce and the future productivity of your plants. Let's talk about some of the most common vegetables you might have in your garden. Leafy greens like lettuce and spinach can be harvested as soon as they're large enough to eat. Simply snip off the outer leaves, leaving the center of the plant intact for future growth. Root vegetables, on the other hand, require a bit more intuition. Carrots and radishes are ready to pull up when their tops peek out from the soil. Beets and turnips, however, are a bit trickier. When their shoulders or the top part of the root start to push up out of the ground, they're usually ready. For vine plants like cucumbers and zucchini, the best indicator is size. Once they've reached the size you'd typically find in a supermarket, they're good to go. Remember, bigger isn't always better. Overgrown vegetables can be tough and seedy. Tomatoes can be harvested when they're fully colored but still firm. Peppers, on the other hand, can be picked at any stage, but they're sweetest when allowed to fully ripen on the plant. As for the method, it's simple. Most vegetables can be gently picked or snipped off with a pair of garden shears. Be careful not to tug or pull too hard, as you could damage the plant or uproot it entirely. And one more tip before we wrap up: always harvest in the cool of the morning. The vegetables will be crisp, hydrated, and full of flavor. Plus, it's a lovely way to start the day. With patience and care, you'll be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Remember, gardening is a journey of learning and discovery. Every season brings new experiences and, of course, delicious homegrown vegetables. Once you've harvested your vegetables, it's important to preserve them properly so they don't go to waste. So let's dive into the world of preserving our harvest, shall we? First, we have canning. This method involves placing your veggies in a glass jar and heating them to kill off any bacteria, yeasts, or molds that could cause spoilage. The heat also drives out the air from the jar, creating a vacuum seal as it cools. This method is excellent for preserving tomatoes, green beans, beets, and pickles. A tip for beginners: always ensure your jars are sterile before use. You can do this by boiling them for 10 minutes. Next up, we have freezing. This method is as simple as it sounds. You can freeze almost any vegetable, but some may require a simple blanching beforehand. Blanching involves briefly boiling or steaming the vegetables, and then rapidly cooling them in ice water. This process helps to preserve the color, texture, and nutritional value of the veggies. A quick tip for freezing: spread your vegetables out on a baking sheet to freeze initially. This will prevent them from sticking together. Once frozen, you can transfer them into a bag or container for long-term storage. Drying is our third method. This process involves removing the water from your vegetables so that bacteria, yeasts, and molds cannot grow. You can air dry, sun dry, or even use a food dehydrator or an oven. Drying is great for preserving herbs, tomatoes, and peppers. A handy hint for drying: make sure your vegetables are cut into even pieces for consistent drying. Now, let's talk about the benefits of these methods. Canning retains the taste and nutritional content of your vegetables for a long period. Freezing offers the closest to fresh taste and preserves most of the nutrients. Drying extends the shelf life of your veggies and provides a unique and concentrated flavor. Choosing the best method depends on the type of vegetable and your personal preference. If you're a fan of the fresh taste, freezing might be your best bet. If you enjoy a more concentrated flavor, give drying a try. And if you're into long-term storage and love the idea of having jars of your own produce lining your shelves, canning could be your go-to. Remember, these are just the basics. Each method has its own set of guidelines and safety measures which you should research and follow carefully. But don't let that intimidate you. The joy of savoring your homegrown vegetables off-season is well worth the effort. And there you have it. 3 simple methods to preserve your harvest and keep your kitchen stocked with homegrown vegetables all year round. Preserving your vegetables allows you to enjoy your garden's bounty even in the off-season. And isn't that a delightful thought? So that's your beginner's guide to growing and preserving your own vegetables. From the first patch of soil turned to the last jar of preserves sealed, we've traversed the captivating journey of home gardening together. Let's take a moment to recap the essential points we've covered, so you can confidently start your own gardening adventure. We began by identifying the perfect location for your vegetable garden. Remember, the key is to seek out a spot that's blessed with at least 6 hours of sunlight each day. This light is the life energy your plants need to grow strong and produce abundantly. Next, we explored the importance of preparing your soil. We talked about the value of good drainage and the necessity of enriching the soil with organic matter. This is the bedrock of your garden, the foundation on which all else is built. Healthy soil equals healthy plants, and that's a simple equation every gardener needs to remember. Moving on, we delved into the art of planting and caring for your vegetables. We discussed the importance of spacing your plants correctly to avoid overcrowding, and to ensure each plant gets its fair share of sunlight and nutrients. We also touched on the importance of regular watering, but remember not to overdo it. Your plants need a drink, not a flood. We then navigated the exciting world of harvesting. We learned to identify the signs that your vegetables are ripe and ready to be picked. It's a thrilling moment when you pluck that first ripe tomato or pull up a carrot, and it's a reward for all your hard work and patience. Finally, we ventured into the realm of preserving your harvest. This is where you lock in the freshness and nutrition of your homegrown produce for the months to come. We covered different methods from canning to freezing, each offering a way to savor the fruits of your labor long after the growing season has ended. But let's not forget, home gardening is more than just a process or a series of steps. It's a journey of discovery, of learning, of connecting with the earth. It's about taking a seed, planting it, nurturing it, and watching it grow into something that nourishes you and your loved ones. And the best part? You can start today right now with no prior knowledge and still succeed. Because in gardening, every mistake is a lesson learned, every challenge an opportunity for growth. In the end, the love, care, and effort you put into your garden will reflect in the quality of the produce you harvest. It's a labor of love that rewards you with the freshest, healthiest, and most delicious fruits and vegetables you've ever tasted. With these simple steps, you can start your own vegetable garden and enjoy fresh, homegrown produce all year round. Here's to a healthy and happy 2024.